Oh, more people. Hold on. There's always such a delay. Okay, so we'll mute everyone. We'll talk about why I think it's important. We will talk about each aspect of, why can't I do anything I want to do? Each aspect of body language, like broken down into pieces, and then we're going to watch videos. To Kara, a lot of them are going to look familiar, and I stole a lot of your videos. And then we'll do Q&A. Some of them we'll probably unmute for like the analyzing part so that we can kind of talk candidly. But yeah, so there we go. I'm like, I can't mute someone if it's not showing up. Okay, so in looking for videos for this class, I was going back and looking at a lot of the footage from stuff I had taken way before, like when I knew nothing about dogs. And I don't know if you guys saw the one video where I was like, I can't believe I was laughing at this. And I was laughing at it. I thought it was hilarious. I didn't know any better. And those two, well, not those two, but there's another video that I'll show you guys. Opie and Abrams ended up starting to fight, and it was pretty bad. God, we probably had 7 fights. The last one, Opie, Abrams almost ripped Opie's leg off, and there was a pretty bad bone infection because I was dumb and I waited. And yeah, it was like 6 months of bone infection and antibiotics, and it was not good. So had I known how to read body language, I probably could have prevented it, I think. And then the other part of body language is, so like with Franny one day, after Opie and Abrams had fought, like they had stayed separate, but Franny had growled at Abrams one day. And after that experience with the other two, I was like, oh, heck no, we are not doing this again. And so I was like, get off my bed, like we're not doing this, back into training classes. And it was actually the owner of Mutt School. She was like, I think you just need to come in and watch dog body language. And I was like, you're dumb. Like, I know everything there is to know about dog body language. But the truth is I didn't, because growling is totally normal. And it's okay in some situations. So we might end up overreacting and punishing something that we shouldn't be punishing if we know more about body language. So I cannot minimize Zoom when I'm recording. How am I supposed to get to my stuff? Okay. So, and some of you guys have seen this ebook already, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it live. Sorry, my brain is slow today. Elaine is here. I haven't seen Elaine in forever. All right, so you guys should all have access to this. If you guys are attending the workshop and aren't members of the Canine Revolution and you want a copy of this ebook, let me know and I will send it to you. So the acronym that we use to kind of remember what the body language we're looking out for is TEMP, so tail, ears, eyes, mouth, posture. It's important to note that it's not just one of these things. It's a combination of everything, and it's context, right? So context matters. The one thing I always hear people say is, oh no, his tail's wagging. I was just working with a client today and she was like, well, no, his tail's wagging. I'm like, yes, but he's barking, growling, and his hackles are up. So a wagging tail does not always mean a good thing. So you guys can see this graphic for yourself. I won't read them all, but think of it as like the horizon. So anything above the horizon is alert. Anything below is kind of concerning. Out like on the horizon is pretty neutral. The cool thing is that dogs can be left-handed, right-handed, or I'm sorry, left brain, right brain. And so they can actually, and it's done by which direction they start wagging their tail. So if they wag their tail to the left, it means that they are concerned about something. And what's really cool is other dogs facing them can register what direction. So other dogs can see that and be like, oh, that dog's not really happy with the situation. But if the tail starts wagging to the right first, it's more pleasant feelings about the animal or person. And so the other thing too is Is a fast moving tail means, you know, that they're more happy, as opposed to like more of like a pendulum, like very methodic wag. That's more concerning. Ears, and this is also specific to breed. So breed plays a role in this as well. If you have cropped ears, or I'm basically cropped ears is all I'm thinking, or floppy ears, or, you know, the breed affects some of this too. Relaxed ears are the ones, I mean, obviously, I feel like some of this is obvious. Pinned back is fearful or anxious. But again, like even these pictures, we've got more than one thing going on. We've got, and we'll have to go over this too, we've got whale eye, we've got mouth tension. So there's more than one thing here that tells us and paints the picture that these are fearful, anxious ears. Mad pants ears, straight back, out to the side, up. If you spend any time on Dog Talk, the wonderful world of dog TikTok, you will see a lot of videos of dogs and kids, and we always see this whale eye in these videos, and it's really concerning. This means that the dog is not comfortable with the situation, and for me, it typically means a bite or a snap or a growl is about to happen. So anytime you can see the whites of the dog's eyes, this one's more like fear, flooded, like this dog is just flooded with anxiety. This is where it starts getting into the cool stuff. So panting without exercise or stimulation. So normally if I get the clicker out, Opie will start panting because he's excited. So there is arousal there that can cause panting, but it's also a sign of anxiety and stress. Yawning, if we're not talking, what are we eating? Hold on. I can't do it. Can't do the smacking sounds. Yawning is a sign of stress. Tongue flicks out the front of the mouth, sign of stress. We also have like the spatula tongue, where it's wider at the end. That is a sign of concern. And lip licking. But the thing to keep in mind with licking the lips is if you have treats, that's going to cause the dog to salivate. So then they're licking their lips to get rid of the spit. So if food is present, we can't really rely on that as much. But lip licking is fascinating to watch. Like if you, and the best place to watch a dog body language is to leave your dog at home and go to a dog park and just sit and watch. You will see a ton of fun things. Snarling, when I have people call, they're like, my dog growled, my dog snarled, he bared his teeth. And I mean, rightly so, they're scared, but that's actually really good communication. Like your dog chose to give a warning sign instead of ripping your face off. So it doesn't seem like it's a great thing in the moment, but it's actually a really good warning sign. So tight mouth. So you can kind of see right here, like where the end of the muzzle is kind of tight and stiff. I find that happens more in German Shepherds, Border Collies, a little bit of Australian Shepherds. They tend to carry their tension more in their mouth. And talking about the snarling, growling is that we never want to punish that. For some reason, as humans, we take it very personally when our dog growls at us. I know before I knew the things I knew, I tried to... Opie had, because of the training facility we were using, they were using hot dogs that had been left out. And so they were at room temperature, and it would make Opie really sick. And he was like defecating blood. And I had to get pills in his system, and he knew what I was trying to do. And so one time, I mean, I was sitting on this dog shoving a pill in his mouth, and he was growling at me the whole time, and I was mad, and everybody was mad. But there's absolutely no reason to take it personally. It is your dog communicating in the only way that they know how, and we perceive it as aggression. So anytime that we perceive aggression from dogs or people, I want you to remember that that is an attempt to gain control of their safety. You guys, a few of you have heard me say this a few times, but I'm going to say it again, especially for those watching the recording. Has really nothing to do with body language, but I just think it's important. So if you get cut off in traffic, you typically get mad and you're yelling at the windshield, you flip somebody off, you honk the horn because your safety was threatened. So we react with aggression. The other day I was pulled over by a cop who was very, very angry with me. And I mean, he was shaking and yelling and screaming and pointing, and I was like, oh my God, like I scared you. Like by understanding that with humans, it helps with relationships and de-escalation of things, but then it also applies to dogs too. So kind of tying that into the snarling, growling thing. I swear I didn't get too far off there. So posture. This is one of the reasons why I don't like certain harnesses because, well, one, this one isn't even fitted right, but with these boxier breeds, like the more chestier breeds, harnesses can actually make them bow up more significantly and make them look more threatening to other dogs. Some dogs, like some breeds like this, are just going to look more stiff and more threatening. So chest out, hunched over, obviously, we kind of know what a scared dog looks like, but there's a lot going on here, right? Like there's a little bit of whale eye, there's the ears, the hunched back, the submissive tail. Another thing with hunched back, and we'll see this in some of the videos, is it can be an indication of pain. And so that's something we want to work at looking for too. The shake, and at the end of this, we'll pause and do questions. So if you have questions, save them for when we get done with this PDF and we'll go over them. The shake off. So this dog has water on it, but let's pretend it doesn't. Anytime that your dog shakes it off, it's kind of like you're taking a sigh of relief or shaking off bad feelings. And we always want to, one, reward that. And two, we always want to pay attention to what happened right before it, because that's kind of what triggered that. And it was like a very tense moment that they kind of needed to shake off. And this is so much like clockwork that like a lot of us in this group could watch a play group of dogs, and let's say one dog corrects the other dog. We can pretty much be like, oh, shake it off. And then the dog shakes it off. We can pretty well call when that's about to happen. And what's interesting is that some dogs were not socialized or brought up by their mom, or for whatever reason, they never learned this coping skill. And so in some situations, we actually have to teach a dog to do this on cue so that we can cue them to shake it off. My dog Voodoo, it concerns me sometimes because in situations where she should shake it off, she doesn't. And that's kind of some concern for me, just things to watch on her. This is a really cool one that I did not know. I think we all know about the play bow. So this is a distance decreasing behavior. So this is what dogs do to get something to come closer to them. And it is indicated by if their elbows touch the ground. If their elbows do not touch the ground, it is a prey bow, and it means something very different than play. And so something as subtle as elbows touching or not is the difference between play and kill. And so that's a pretty cool thing in my opinion. But again, right, we've also got an alert tail, alert ears, happy face. This one is more stiff, rigid tail, obviously barking. It's a little bit different. That's kind of the overview. And remember that it's not just one thing, it's an overall picture. I know a lot of people on TikTok, and I think TikTok's a really good resource. Just consider who the trainer is that's talking about. If you go on TikTok and you type in dog body language, you're going to see a ton of stuff, and most of it is narrated pretty good. But they'll take 60-second clips or 30-second clips, but there's things that happen before that might influence why the dog was doing that, or why we had a big blow up reaction. It might be environmental, with something going on outside that kind of trigger stacked. So we were already stressed, and then we started adding more and more triggers, and then all of a sudden there's a loud bang outside, and that's what caused the dog to snap. So those are the things that you might not be able to see in videos, but I think TikTok's a good resource if you consider the source. We're going to pause there before we go into videos. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Kendra, I'm going to unmute you.
Teaching the shake off. I know the dogs do the shake off when I take the harnesses off. I think that's just to shake off the fact that they're able to go be a dog. But teaching it to shake off on cue, so how do I go about learning that?
You would only do that if your dog's not doing it naturally. So I would watch after, like, let's say when you're out back and the trigger walks by and Bear's going crazy, see if he shakes it off afterwards. Or if the dogs are playing together, see if they shake it off afterwards.
Nope.
Because otherwise it's going to be, I'm talking like less than probably 10% of dogs don't know how to do this. So I would say it's very rare.
I've never seen them do a shake off after anything walks by.
Okay, well, because the only way to really teach it is to capture it. So even if you put the harness on him and then take it off and he starts to shake off, you would click and treat.
Okay.
So you'd have to capture it happening naturally.
And I do need to ask for that ebook, the one that you were talking about, because
It's
I'm not
in,
in that other class
yeah,
or in that other group.
it's in the Canine Revolution stuff. You have
Okay.
it. It's
Okay.
under, I know I just put it in the reactivity course and it's under, I think there's a whole thing called dog body language. Pretty sure. If not, let me know. I mean, I'll send it. I don't care. I'll send it to anybody. But um, yep.
I'll look.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm taking notes.
Good. Good. I wish more people would prioritize learning these things because I'm not gonna lie, guys. The amount of phone calls I've gotten this week for aggression, bite cases, inner household aggression cases, like it's all preventable. I feel like in most
The
cases.
only the only dog bark bite I've had to possibly deal with was my mom was here, and my friends' dogs are a little more protective of me and his mom, their mom. She went to go grab a ball for Bear because it went a little too far beyond his ability to get past the lead. And Diamond acted like he was going to try. He actually went to try to bite her calf. He didn't touch, didn't contact, but I picked him up, told him no, and put him directly in the kennel.
Oh, it's good.
Was that the right thing to do?
Um, for the situation, yeah, without digging far into that, but I mean, you know everything for the reactivity. It's in that course, so
Yeah.
and it
I
all
just
applies to
thought
that
that was
stuff.
the best
But
way to handle it. I just picked
yep,
him up, I carried him by his chest, and put him in his kennel.
you got it done. That's what matters. You split
Okay.
it up. That's what matters. All right,
Yeah, everything else was fine. It was just Diamond that actually went for a bite. I was like, oh no,
we're not doing that. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions about anything? Um, One thing I would encourage you guys to do is like watch, like just truly watch your dog. Be present, watch your dog, watch what they're doing. Um, the first videos that I'm going to show you, and I hope these work. So can everybody see that? Okay. I don't want to blow your, oh, I probably didn't do share audio. Hold on. I did not. Okay, dokie. Why isn't it? No, I want to go full screen. Wrong button. Okay, so brown dog is Opie. He is my problem child. The little one is Franny, and so this is actually what prompted, I think, the fights in our house. So Franny, as soon as I got her, she had gotten spayed. So well, it was about 2 weeks in. So she was an unspayed female. Opie and Abrams both had. This was 10 years, almost 10 years ago, 8 years ago. They both were chemically castrated with what was called Zuterin, and so they inject a spermicide, and that kills the potential there, and then they get to keep a percentage of testosterone. And so this actually used to be a really big thing back in California when I moved here. No one knew about it, so I actually drove Opie to California to have it done, but neither Abrams or Opie's took. Abrams ended up having an issue with his prostate because of all of this. Like, it was the worst thing I could have done for my dogs. The recovery time was great, but it was really bad. So having an unspayed female in a house with two essentially unaltered dogs is what started the fighting. But also things like this. So we have resources out, free resources out, which I do not do anymore. We have stiff tail. We kind of have some hunch going on. We've got tight lips. The ears are not, they're more out, a little bit pinned back, but they're definitely not like Franny's. Franny's having the time of her life. And I'm just laughing. I think it's the funniest thing on earth. This part right here, let me see if I can back up enough. Right there, that very quick snap to get the resource, that is a very good indicator of resource guarding. He still does it to this day. If I leave the food container open, he will go dive in and get a mouthful of food and take off running. Like, that's very standard resource guarding. I don't think that was a correction right there. I think Franny dropped the sock, but we've got whale eye. And I mean, I am laying right here. I watched all of this. I'm giggling. I think it's hysterical because and watching groups can be difficult too, right? So like I was probably just watching Franny too because Franny's adorable and perfect. But I thought that was funny. I even posted on Facebook saying that Franny was so sassy. So that's one of the ones that I found that I was mortified about. Let's see. No, that's not the one I want. That is not the one I want. I created a folder, which was better than I normally do. So there's a really good one of Opie and Abrams somewhere. I guess we'll just jump around. This one is, you can hear my dumb self talking and my ex-husband talking. So Opie's in the crate here. Abrams was somewhere behind this. And the food bag is ultimately what Opie was growling about. And so I started recording because we were about to work with a behavior consultant and I wanted her to see it. What's that? No, he's still looking. So I was intentionally trying to get Abrams to go closer to the bag to recreate this because we were like 2 days away from having an appointment. So I don't know if you guys could hear that, the growl, and then we've got, his ears are kind of floppy, but they're more rigid and stiff. And then that little head dip that he does. Hey. Abrams was oblivious. Hey. And so that one's more subtle too, and that's contained. It makes me wonder how he would react if he wasn't out. You see that tongue flick there? Well, maybe. Right there. So something as simple as a tongue flick. Now, obviously, we've got more contextual clues. We've got the growling, which makes it a lot more obvious, but sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes, I mean, you know, just like people, some people are very good at communicating. Some people aren't very good at communicating. Oh, Elaine left. I was like, who left? This is one, so I took an aggression in dogs master course, and this is from their Facebook group, and I got permission to share it because it was such a good video. Can you guys hear the sound on this? Okay. So this one's gonna go really, really fast, and we're gonna play it through once, and then we're gonna break it down and pause it. So, and I probably should have warned you guys that there was going to be some growling. Sorry. What when like started as play, right? And you didn't think it was going to end up that way, I'm sure. I think I have to completely restart it. So, what did you guys notice from that? If anybody just wants to unmute and tell me what they noticed.
You can see that lab's tail and then look at her muzzle.
Yep. Kendra, did you
Where the other dog looks like, I do want to play, and she's like, I'm not having it.
Mm-hmm. I thought Kendra was unmuted. Does that work? There we go.
I noticed that the bigger dog, I think that's the Great Dane, it looks like almost. He rolled over submissive, but who's the aggressor?
So let's reframe it. Who's afraid of their safety? The white one.
Okay, and the bigger dog actually laid down, showed his belly, and was submissive. But it looked at towards the end like the bigger dog actually started trying to bite the white one.
I'll have to go back and we'll play it again. But
I do see the stiff tail there, and the ears possibly back.
Yep. Anybody else want to contribute? We can play it again too. We will play it again. So where's my sound? So, and even this, right? So this is elbows touching. That's kind of a play bow. We are maybe not so much a bow, but we are making ourselves smaller to get the dog to come closer to us. So that's why this one was very interesting, because the dog is in, and it was something right. I wish there's a scroll button. Right here, you can see his hackles get up. So it was something between laying down and here that we started getting uncomfortable. He tried. We've got a little bit of a snarl right there. The tail is a little concerning. And we're good there. I would also say that letting the dog, like the dog jumping on the back end here, could have contributed to some of this. But again, we made ourselves smaller. That tail, I think his hackles are still pretty up there. And so, we'll go over what I would do. So this dog's making himself smaller to initiate and play. We still have hackles up though. And so if that doesn't go away pretty quick, the dog's obviously uncomfortable. And then I honestly don't know what went wrong here. I don't know if it was just a blow up of things. It just kept escalating. He didn't get a chance to shake it off. He didn't get a chance to kind of reset. And so personally for me, right here, when I saw the hackles go up, I would have recalled one of them to separate for a moment to see if the shake off would happen naturally. And then they could go try again if they wanted to, but I wouldn't have let that continue after the hackles were up. And see that lip lick right there? There are a lot of signs, and this is a trainer that was taking it. I don't know if they were just wanting it to play out or what. Yep, and the cool thing to note there is that she didn't overreact. She didn't, in that one video of me and Abrams, I was like, no, knock it off. Like, I was yelling. She didn't overreact, and I know it's hard in the moment not to, but yeah. Does anybody have any questions about that one? That one's a really tricky one. Kendra.
I noticed at one point the white dog actually tried to get away.
Right.
And the gray one followed her. And that's when she went towards the back.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, if and that's why the attention cue is so important, because we can get them apart. And disengaging from play is a skill set that some dogs don't have, and people don't prioritize working on with their dogs.
I've been starting to use and it does get his attention. It's working on Chico in the store, because he started barking at somebody at Walmart yesterday. They had another service dog, and I was like, nope, we're not going to bark at him.
So an attention cue is basically the same as the clicker. It's just a different sound. So it has to mean food every single time.
Okay.
So it's not a correction.
So I need to start using the treats with it?
With some sound, yeah.
Okay. Bear's not accepting the lower treats anymore. Don't know what to do there.
He's bougie. Up it up. Make it harder. Okay, so we're going to move on to... I don't know what this is. I wanted to do more of the... So this one's an interesting one. I have one of me and Abrams and Opie, but it says it's unavailable. I don't know how that happens, but Opie does not like children under a certain age. And I think it's their lack of impulse control. And so this was during a music lesson. Again, I knew we had a behavioral consultation coming up, so I was trying to get some footage. I'm gonna hear kid work this out in his head. But the panting without exercise, sign of stress, the focus right there. And I was trying, we talk about anything longer than a 2-second stare is a bad choice. I was trying to see for the behavior consultant. And so what you can see here is we're getting drawn in. There's a lip lick right there. You can barely see it. Sometimes I wonder if the clicker doesn't get him over threshold and get him too overstimulated. So like this lip lick that was right here, oh, right here, that is not a concerning lip lick. That's because he just had a treat. So context matters.
Relax.
And so we, in the new reactivity course that we just added to Canine Revolution, we talk about the look at that training or lat training. And so that's where you see Opie look at the kid, look at me, look at the kid, look at me. And I think what that ends up doing is it's great and it works for some dogs, but for Opie, it became a coping mechanism. So he defaults to that behavior because it was reinforced so much. Um,
30. So 32.
I think at one point he actually growls.
But this time do it quick.
No, I don't want you to do it fast.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure he growled.
That was pretty
I
good.
could be wrong. Okay, so that a little bit different than the other ones because it's dog and human. I really want this video to work. I'm gonna try to go find it really quick. Does anybody have any questions so far while I'm doing this? Because this one of Abrams and Opie is pretty good. I found it. Okay, share screen. Again, I thought this was hilarious for multiple reasons. Gertie got an onion out of the trash or out of the grocery bags that were in the kitchen, and onions are bad for dogs. Don't let them eat them. She wasn't eating them. She was playing with it, and I thought it was hilarious. But in the background, and I'm just dying laughing. I just thought it was adorable and cute.
Gertie. Yeah, Gert. No.
So here, does anybody want to go with what they saw? You want to do that? I don't know if you're raising your hand or if you doing sign
Did you
language.
end up having a dog fight with
Over this?
Opie?
Not this day,
Okay.
but we have, and it has been over resources. So one time it was a food bowl. One time after I knew better and I had the toys up, I'd found their box of toys in the closet and I was like, oh, and I let them play with it and I was like, oh my God, no. And as soon as I remembered what I did, I had walked in the living room and about the same time, all hell broke loose. And I was home alone for that one. That one I almost didn't break up. But yeah, resources are the trigger for them.
I was going to ask you to replay it because I was
Yeah.
trying to watch everybody. Gertie is
It's hard,
definitely
right?
playing with it. But I wasn't paying attention to Opie and Franny.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys don't know who the dogs are. Gertie's the one right here in the purple. Opie and Abrams are playing tug of war.
That's Abram.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So they've got a rope between them.
Yeah, it's a sock.
Gertie.
And it's hard with play groups.
I see
right?
the play bag.
So were his elbows touching? I didn't see. Let's watch it
Opie,
again and
when he
see.
was towards the end, Opie actually put his elbows down for a play.
Gert.
Right there.
I think that was more getting leverage, but yeah. So
That
we've
would
got
normally be a play bow, right?
it's hard. I wouldn't rule that a play bow or a prey bow there because he was trying to get leverage
Okay.
because it was tug. Like we're obviously gonna drop our center
Oh,
of gravity
tug of
to the ground.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute. We're gonna break it down. So his hackles are up very subtly, but they're there. Rigid tail. One thing to note here, which you can't really see it while it's paused, but Abrams has a little arch right here. Again, at the time, I didn't know any better. He has spinal arthritis. So pain can cause dogs to be more protective and have a bigger reaction when they feel threatened. He also has 2 dislocated back kneecaps. So there's some pain involved with this. Opie has elbow dysplasia in the both front legs. And so that could be contributing to the overreaction sometimes of these dogs. Abrams' tail is a little stiff, but it's more out and alert. His growl is more play. The jerking motion of Opie.
Yeah, Gert.
And just how rigid Opie is. It's nuts to me that I was just sitting there letting that happen. Okay, let's look at let's look at a familiar rug. I don't have a share screen. I think this was after a dog mom meetup, maybe. I'm not even gonna pretend to know dog names here. We're just gonna watch it and see what happens. Warning, I do think this one has a correction in it. No, that wasn't this one. Okay. I was like, one of them, I know one of them does. Cruella was watching the screen. So we've got some, I call these froggy doggy ears. These aren't too concerning, but they are more alert. We've got some pushy, I don't want to call this dominance because dominance theory is dead, but pushy behavior. Got, so play bow or pray bow there. That would be pray bow. The nudging, it's just kind of, this dog, I think that dog yawned, right? Maybe? No, that was a different dog, just kidding. That wasn't the video I thought it was either. There is one. Where did it go? So many windows. Okay, this one does have a pretty loud reaction, so it may be triggering. When I took the aggression with dogs master course, like there's a lot of footage in there of dog fights, to dog bites to people, dog fights that could not be broken up. And so like those were so hard for me to watch. Like I had to watch them muted first. And then I tried to like gradually add the sound. So I do try to give a warning when we're watching that kind of stuff.
Why you gotta be weird, girl? Just a good shake off.
That's the other thing I was gonna say too. If you work around anyone in animal welfare, good shake off. Like it's just, you'll hear it all the time.
Lay down.
This wasn't the one either. Yes, it was. I was waiting to see if everybody shook it off. So a lot going on. If I remember right, the Rottweiler was new to the environment. And I think the one laying down has some pain association, probably, if I remember this right. We've got resources. One thing that I noted was also we have noise in the background, like I talked about earlier with trigger stacking. That could play a factor. It could not. We don't know. It's just what I observed watching it. We've got some stiff body language here. The Rottweiler does some appeasement licking right there with a little tongue flick.
Why you gotta be weird, girl?
The good shake off. So clearly the dog was uncomfortable with what happened right before that. So we're already a little on edge. Lip licking from this dog. So that was two. I wasn't sure if that was an actual lip lick. Let's go back. So this dog right here, lip lick there. Another lip lick there.
Lay down.
She goes back to get the toy from the other dog. No, different toy. Just kidding. The one on the couch, like, Mom. So, and it's really hard when you're watching more than one dog to like take in the whole picture. But it goes to show you that this lip lick thing isn't just, just my dog or just certain breeds. Like you've seen it now with multiple different dogs, multiple different situations, scenarios. We have, nope, I did that one already. What is that one? Nope. So then I have a couple, oh God. I have a YouTube thing that talks about rude gestures. Why are we 3 minutes in? Let's see. I was hoping this had more. Yeah, so I won't ever let another dog be on top of another dog. So no like jumping on their back or anything like that. Anytime that the dog puts their head over the back of the dog, that can be taken as threatening. Oh, there's volume. I don't want volume. I don't want volume of husky ever. Yeah, the charging chest bump thing, that one's always, these are really bad videos. This was from IABC. Anytime that a dog is on top of another dog, I try to, it depends on the situation. So I will give it a second to see if they will swap roles. So one dog needs to be the chaser and then they need to swap roles. The other dog needs to chase. If one dog's rolling over on their stomach, that's fine for a moment. If it gets too much, I will interrupt it. But ultimately they need to switch roles and the other dog needs to go on their back, so that it's equal and fair play and one person isn't running the show. And by interrupting it, you start teaching the association of, oh, I need to kind of check myself here and walk away before mom does it. This is not the one I thought it was. We're gonna stop this one and go to the other one. The other one was a meet and greet between two dogs, I think at a shelter. Nope. One great snark, yes. And I can't remember if this one has a correction or not. And I think they start slow-mo. So we'll watch first, then we'll talk about it, I guess. Oh, never mind. So I personally would never bring two dogs nose to nose like this if I was doing a meet and greet. You can almost see like the ears going out. Like, this is a really good video. It was very stiff and rigid. And what's cool is dogs, well, we'll talk about that. Don't let me forget about street dogs. The other dog's trying to avoid contact because he's reading the stress signals of the husky, whatever that is. Because dogs, healthy, emotionally healthy dogs can read body language in other dogs. I do want to note that both of these handlers have excellent leash tension. We're not putting too much tension on the leash because let's say the person who has the husky thing, if they were to put tension on the leash right now, I'm guessing it would set them off. Yeah, there was a bite. We're going to fast forward a little bit. And so that's why it's so important when we talk about loose leash walking with reactivity is we end up creating reactivity with the leash pressure. I had one client we did bat training with, and it was like every time she put pressure on the leash, that dog would bark like instantly. It became the cue to react. Okay, I think is that all the ones I have? What is that one? Oh, I do have this video, which I thought was interesting as I was going back through all my bad life choices and watching them. I can't share screen. So this was Opie when we were I don't even know where the volume button is at this point. I had gotten Freddie Percury here, and none of my dogs liked cats, so we were starting that. And so we do have the alert ears. We have a little bit of forward there, tail stiff, but and a lip lick, I think, right there. If I'm, oh, I can't even see. Yeah, there's a lip lick there. And I mean, it wasn't concerning, but if I had let him we talk about the magnet, if he was too drawn in, it could have been a bad choice, which is why we had the muzzle on for extra safety. Okay, I have one more that I want to talk about. It's not anything crazy. It's actually the opposite. It's very calm, and this is a music teacher of mine's dog. She's put a ton of work into this dog, and he still just struggles with life. And so this is at the vet. I think he's heavily medicated too, but I know that when I took Franny to a group dog training class for the first time, she hid under the chair. She was absolutely catatonic, terrified, would not move. And there was a couple in the class, and they were like, "Oh my God, I wish my dog behaved like yours." I was like, "You wish your dog was terrified? Like what? I'm confused." And again, it's because people don't know dog body language. This looks like a calm dog at the vet. Oh, he loves the vet. But we've got the aileron ears going. We've got the panting. The respiratory rate's pretty high. I mean, this is a stressed out dog, but to the standard person, that's a calm dog at the vet. One thing I do want to mention, just because we're talking about it, is if your dog's at the vet acting that way or barking or whatever, you petting it and telling it it's okay is just adding to the stress bucket. You don't have Takara works and Colleen, they both work at a vet clinic. So you really just, and I want to ask people, like, is that working? No, it's not. So stop doing it. Like, it's just adding to everybody's stress level, to include staff. So kind of an overview of everything. Does anyone have any questions, specifically dog body language? And then if not, we can go into any dog anything. Come on, I covered it all. It's perfect. What? Oh, unmute, Kendra.
Sorry, I know I'm asking a lot of questions.
You're good.
I need to figure out what Chico's body language is. I need to I watch him really close, but he always barks at running, screaming, hollering 5 or younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because he was raised with a toddler before I got him?
One thing that I've been talking about recently this week, because I'm really sick of it, is instead of going back to why the trauma happened or what caused it, we need to train the dog that's in front of us with what they're presenting. So don't get too lost in the why of it and just how to fix it. So
I usually tell them it's okay, and I see it, or the parents see it.
So any of that type of do what?
It's almost like he's trying to alert the parents that the kids are running.
No, I would say that, remember the filter, all behavior is to escape something or to gain something.
Okay.
Barking can be, and it depends on the pitch of bark, but it can be to create distance. Typically it's to create distance. So I would argue that the dog wants space from the unpredictable creature that is running like a wild person.
Okay.
And it all comes back to the same training that you're doing with bear. It's all the same stuff.
So I just basically pull him back and tell him he's okay.
No. We click and treat, just like we're doing for bear, right? Click and treat for noticing.
Okay. Good notice. Thank you. Good notice. Treat. Thank you.
That's level 1. Then level 2 is rewarding for the disengage. So we look and then we disengaged.
Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted, and we don't pet the dogs if, like, when Bear's panting in his kennel or anything like that. No exercise. I know he gets really stressed in his kennel, and I don't know what to do about that. I did get a water buffalo horn at the one of the pet shops. It's really sturdy, and he can chew on it.
Oh, I'm like, is this like, I'm sitting here thinking it's like a rabbit water feeder for the crate. I'm like, a water buffalo, what? Okay. No, you just gave me an excellent idea. I will start working on a crate training video course
'Cause
for.
I don't know what to do with him when he's in that crate and he's going crazy. I
Yeah, and I
did
mean we
freeze our
talked about
dog
that
food,
yesterday. Oh, cool.
but this, and she showed me the results of a boxer, a couple of other big dogs chewing on it, and they're frustrated with the horn because they can't get through it.
Yeah, I would just with anything that's hard like that, just watch their teeth. My dog, I gave him antlers all the time, Abrams, and he killed a couple of his teeth, and you'll notice because it'll have a dark line around it.
Okay. I'm only gonna do it like when I have to leave and go
Right, we talked
somewhere.
about that. Yep.
And I did freeze some dog food. I'm gonna do that the next time I have to go to, like, Wednesday. He's gonna be alone in the house because he went this week to my therapist. So I'm gonna take Chico. We go back and forth. That's how I do that. So do I?
You're trying to fix too many things at one time. Pick one thing and work on it for 7 days.
Okay. Well, I've been working on that reactivity a lot,
And I think
and I've
that's
been
pretty much the
reinforcing it.
priority.
Okay. With Chico, we do pretty good, but I've got a few things that I don't know how to handle here. But let's stick with the body language.
Okay, yeah, and
Actually, Chico,
if you ever want to get a video of Chico reacting to the kids, like we can break it down in any of the calls that we do in the program.
okay. When Runt and Diamond and Bear does it too, and I don't know how to stop it, I noticed Chico gets really stiff, really frustrated, and I let him tell them no. He's the only one fixed in the house right now. They are always checking out his pecker. Always. I've actually thumped Runt on the head a couple times today to get him to stop. But I don't know what to do.
I mean, dogs will be dogs. We're
And
applying
Chico just gets
we're
frustrated
applying a
with it.
human cultural norm to a dog animal. So yes, humans don't go around doing that, but that's normal in their world. Um, and so we have to really try hard. Like, yes, dogs have the brain that is structurally similar to that of a human, but they're not people. And so we shouldn't hold them to the same standards and species. I want to say cultural, but I can't think of what the other word is. Not
Taboos.
the same. Yeah, I don't know. Um, for
Well,
me, I interrupt it when the sound gets too much. I'm like, quit eating your ass. Like, stop.
right?
But
Well,
that's all part of
well,
socialization.
okay. When Chico's hackles are getting up, you can tell when his go up because he's got that. Yeah, there's no mistaking when his goes up. Um, and he corrects them. Sometimes it works, but if it's not working, when his hackles are up and he's getting frustrated, he wants them to leave him alone. You can tell. What do I do when they don't?
So ideally, we want to interrupt it before the dog has to take control of their safety and advocate for themselves.
Okay.
So ideally, that attention cue, right? So for me, I use bup bup or I use the kissy sound. It depends on what dog I'm working with. And so, like for Tina and those who aren't in the program, like we make the sound, we give a treat. We make the sound, we give a treat, and we do that so much that regardless of what's going on around us, we can make the sound, and our dog's going to turn around to come back to us.
So it's going to be the attention cue that I need to start working with on the other two.
Yeah, and it'll help with the
Okay.
reactivity too, because when he's focused on something, you can make the sound, and he'll turn around and come back.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure because I can tell after about 30 seconds, Chico's done. He's like, get off me.
Yep. So we just want to interrupt it and advocate for them before they have to advocate for themselves.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't getting off here. Geez. The one thing that I wrote down that I wanted to mention is that here in the good old United States, we have a lot of dog aggression, dog fights in houses, reactivity. I can't even tell you the amount of people that think their dog's reactive. And it makes you wonder why. Like, why? We have street dogs in foreign countries that are basically wild dogs, and they do not fight like this. So the common denominator here is humans. And so in street dogs, it's life or death, right? If they're going to go for a fight, they're going to have to win. So they have to rely heavily on reading body language, and they're really good at it. And dogs who are socialized properly when they're puppies learn to do those cues and take corrections. But not all dogs can. Like out of all, Franny's pretty good, but Cruella's amazing because she's been around other dogs from day one. I've monitored, I've interrupted bad play, I've recalled, made her disengage from play. And so she's an amazing communicator, but not all dogs are. And like going back to attachment theory, which we talked about last night in our weekly live chat, dogs can have attachment theory too. And so those good communicators are typically the secure attachment style, whereas the anxious ones are the ones who blow up and like ink like an octopus. Avoidance kind of go into their shell like a turtle. And so I don't know what that had to do with anything, but street dog fights, somehow it had to do with that. Okay, any questions about body language or anything dog related? Kendra, your time has been taken away. I'm sorry, no, I'm just kidding. But does anybody else have anything? Nothing? Okay. I want to thank everyone who is not in the Canine Revolution program for purchasing this as the fundraiser for Mr. Major. I know a lot of people purchased and are not here, so for the recording, I don't know if you guys saw the update that his biopsy came back and it is cancerous, so he's gonna live his best life with our very own. Oh, he's here. He's here, yay! I haven't got to meet him. I want to meet him. So he's gonna live out his best life with Takara, and I feel like he's already looks happier. Like in the video that Foa posted, I was like, he looks so much happier. Are you watching too? Cruella's like,
Kara, I'm getting tears in my eyes.
I know, me too. I've cried enough this week. I'm done. All right, guys, if no one has any other questions, we'll be done. If you think of something, or if you have a video of your dog that you want me to analyze with the video recording, you guys can post it in the Facebook group, or if you're in Canine Revolution, you can post it there. But thank you, and we'll see you guys around.